Thank you very much for joining us. This is Nationwide on the network services of the NTA. I'm Ruth Aguele. Welcome. We'll begin with update on COVID-19. Confirmed cases of coronavirus increased to 2,170 in the country after 238 new infections were recorded on Friday, the 1st of May, as at 11 p.m. Information from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control shows that of the 238 new cases recorded, 92 are in Kano, 36 in the FCT, 30 in Lagos, 16 in Gombe, and 10 in Bauchi. Delta recorded 8 cases, Oyo has 6, while Sokoto and Zamfara each recorded 5 cases. Ondo and Nasarawa each recorded 4 cases. Kwara, Edo, Ekiti, Borno, and Yobe recorded 3 cases each. Adamawa has 2 new cases, while Niger, Imo, Ebonyi, Rivers, and Enugu each recorded 1 case. Deaths from COVID-19 currently stand at 68, while a total of 351 persons have been discharged. 89 vaccines are being developed by researchers around the world in the search for the cure of coronavirus. World Health Organization's officer in charge in Nigeria, Dr. Fiona Braka, stated this at a daily briefing of the Presidential Task Force in Abuja, where glowing tributes were paid to Nigerian health workers in the front line of the coronavirus pandemic. Let's hear from Tariq Ben.
Welcome you to the national briefing for...
This May Day briefing by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 was full of encomiums for the sacrifices health workers and other essential personnel are making to contain the spread of coronavirus in Nigeria.
Our healthcare workers, the media, security agents, all workers from different sectors that go out into the storm of COVID-19 every day, we say a big thank you.
Unsung heroes like cleaners, drivers, clerks, ad hoc staff are the Nigerians in the front line who do all we can to protect your family and your loved ones.
Every single day I go to work and meet a set of people that are absolutely committed to their tasks. Work till 12 p.m. almost every day, especially now as we respond to this outbreak. You're the pride of our nation. We need you to keep pushing. Don't give up.
Beyond the lockdown, restrictions, precautionary measures, and even palliatives to cushion the biting effects of the pandemic is the continuous search for a cure for the novel coronavirus. The WHO representative in the Presidential Task Force gives insight into the quest.
We have a total of 89 vaccines that are in development globally, including 7 in clinical evaluation, and several therapeutics are in clinical trials. More than 100 countries have joined the Solidarity Trial, and to date, over 1,200 patients have been randomized from the first 5 countries to evaluate the safety and efficacy of 4 drugs and drug combinations.
I've been encouraged by the feedback from Nigerians on the need to deepen research into COVID-19 so that a homegrown cure could be found. I therefore urge our scientists and researchers to come up with their findings and follow the validation protocols.
With 18 laboratories activated to test for coronavirus nationwide, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control hopes to expand the network to at least 1 laboratory per state. In Abuja, Tariq Ben, NTA News.
The federal government has issued a comprehensive guideline on the gradual ease of the total lockdown, which will commence on Monday, 4th May 2020. Now, this is following the presidential broadcast of Monday, 28th April 2020, in which President Muhammadu Buhari announced the gradual ease of lifting of the lockdown in Lagos, Ogun, and the Federal Capital Territory. India reports.
Statement signed by Secretary to Government of the Federation and Chairman Presidential Committee on COVID-19, Boss Mustafa, provides general information on new COVID-19 measures and protocols for containment of the disease. The federal government acknowledged the improvements in the multi-sectoral response to the coronavirus pandemic and wants all the existing guidelines on proper hygiene to be maintained. The ease of the lockdown is also characterized by enforceable actions such as compulsory use of non-medical face mask covering for all persons in public spaces, mandatory temperature checks to be conducted in public spaces, religious gatherings are still restricted, and mandatory supervised isolation of persons arriving from outside the country for at least 14 days. The imposition of overnight nationwide curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. starting from May 4th to 17, 2020. Movement of persons between local government areas is strongly discouraged except for critical healthcare, work and shopping for necessary food items. For the agricultural sector, persons above the age of 65 years and those with underlying chronic illness such as diabetes and high blood pressure advised to remain at home. Trucks bearing agricultural and animal products are allowed easy passage. Government offices and other corporate entities are to open from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. daily with limited staff working to between 30 to 50%. So as to maintain social distancing. Local authorities are allowed to determine date and time for the opening of neighborhood markets, abattoirs and warehouses not more than 3 times a week. Recreational centers such as beer parlors, clubs, gardens and others are to remain closed with suspension of the usage of recreational parks, communal sports, concerts, social parties, movie theaters, amongst others, except for food restaurants which are allowed to open from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. only for buy and takeaway services. All schools are to remain closed till further evaluation as schools are encouraged to continue with e-learning and visual teaching. State governments and security agencies are therefore enjoined to ensure effective strict enforcement of the guidelines as the level of compliance will be reviewed in 2 weeks before additional guidelines for phase 2 will be issued. In Abuja, doing Dia NTA News.
And joining us now live via Zoom to speak on how Nigerians should observe the ease of the lockdown in Lagos, Ogun and the FCT, which takes effect from Monday, 4th of May, is the President, Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, Professor Kenneth Ozoilo. Thank you very much for joining us, Doctor.
Thank you very much and good evening.
All right, good evening to you. The ease of the lockdown will commence on Monday. What's your take on that?
Well, I think this is a pragmatic decision by governments that is anchored on the need to be sensitive to the suffering of the people occasioned by the lockdown. But it must be noted very carefully that it is not because the risk is less. On the contrary, the risk of transmission of COVID-19 disease in Nigeria has never been as high as it is right now. So while we recognize that there's a need to alleviate the suffering of people and allow maybe some people to go out and restock and some minimal degree of economic activity, we need to bear in mind that actually the number of cases on record are higher now than before. The number of deaths to date are also higher now than previously. And so this relaxing of the lockdown should not be mistaken as a diminution in the risk of transmission of this disease.
Okay, now following that, what should be the attitude of Nigerians, especially those in these areas of focus that is in consonance with the already existing protocols? Can people afford to be carefree at this critical time?
Certainly not. Absolutely not. You see, there's a great need for Nigerians to be aware of the true situation of things. And in that respect, the news feeds that comes up regularly is a very important thing, and Nigerians should pay attention to that. And realize that individuals have to take personal responsibility for their safety. Okay, there is only so much that the government can do in the area of disease prevention. individual people have to make efforts to take responsibility for their own safety, for the safety of their family and loved ones, and that of the general public. And so as people go out, it's important that they continue to observe all the advisories concerning prevention, particularly the need for social distancing, hand washing, and other measures that have been articulated by the NCDC, Ministry of Health, and other agencies that are involved in the response.
And talking about agencies, from your constituency, what has been done, talking about your association, in the face of this COVID-19? What's your observation so far?
Yes. Well, our members are in the forefront, in different parts of the country. There's a lot of challenges. We're having a lot of problems with personal protective equipment, for hospitals. Most centers across the country are reporting a severe shortage of this, and this is an area that, government and these agencies need to pay a lot of attention to. We're also having challenges with the adequacy of isolation centers. As we speak, still many states have not put in place effective measures to put in place these isolation centers, and they're very, very important. And we need to realize that the number of health workers, not just consultants or doctors, the number of health workers that are infected by this disease is on the increase. And so there's a need for us to protect the lives and safety of these frontline workers, even as they try to help in saving the lives of affected Nigerians all over the country.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Kenneth Ozoilo. You're also a doctor, medical and dental consultant. Is the president of Medical and Dental Consultant Association of Nigeria. Thank you very much. We do appreciate your time on Nationwide.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me. Have a good evening.
You too. All right, the African Union is challenging her member countries to prioritize local production of personal protection equipment, face masks, ventilators, and sanitizers to support the manufacturing sector, which will create wealth and jobs.
Now, this was a part of the takeaways from the AU virtual meeting of the third extraordinary session of Specialized Technical Committee on Education, Science and Technology, chaired by Dr. Elioda Tumwesige and co-chaired by Professor Sarah Agbo. Minister of State for Science and Technology, Mohammed Abdullahi, represented Nigeria at the meeting, which centered on strategic response of member states to coronavirus pandemic for Africa to introduce modern technology for delivery of relevant education, training and certification. Other resolutions at the meeting were that AU country members must strengthen their research institutions by way of increased funding, as well as facilitate and promote collaboration of African researchers.
We must also live within the spirit of the CONSAT resolutions. If the Commissioner will recall, the CONSAT in, I think, February 2020, agreed on additional funding for R&D and science and tech. So I think we must live within the spirit of the CONSAT resolutions and ensure that we ramp up our efforts towards science and technology.
The African Union Commission is uniquely positioned to collaborate with the private sector while collaborating with the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology to bring out mitigating response to COVID-19, especially the provision and deployment of internet facilities to promote online learning.
What is the guideline for commercial commuter operators in Lagos? Let's join Hingino John Adams to bring us more on that and more reports on Nationwide. Hingino.
Thank you, Ruth. The Lagos State government has announced that commercial transportation within the state will be between 6 o'clock in the morning and 7 in the evening, starting from Monday, 4th of May 2020. The Commissioner for Transportation, Frederick Oladende, emphasized that commercial motorcycles, popularly referred to as Okada, remains banned across the state. He warned that anyone caught flouting the rule will face the wrath of the law. Noselsda tells us more.
The Commissioner, who explained that mechanic villages, both public and private, are to operate within the state between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. daily, called for a high level of personal hygiene and maintaining social distancing. He also stated that all vehicles used for transportation of food items and other essentials be disinfected before gaining access into the state's borders.
Passenger commuters are mandated to wear face masks at all times, sanitize with alcohol-based sanitizer, or wash their hands with soap and running water before and after each trip.
Special advisor to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on transportation appealed to commercial bus operators not to hike their fares as they are urged to carry 2 passengers on a seat.
The enforcement is going to be friendly substantially for the level of your obedience. They can only extort me if I refuse to obey in the first instance.
Residents were enjoined to call or send a text message to 080-3400-6683 to report any infraction to the guidelines stipulated by the state government. In Lagos, Nosa, Usula, NTA News.
Now let's look at an update on the fire outbreak that occurred at Obalende roundabout in the heart of Lagos this Friday when an oil tanker conveying 45,000 liters of diesel erupted in flames and left in its wake 1 fatality, 15 minor casualties and 1 major casualty. Amakawa reports that the firefighter who suffered the major injury is receiving treatment.
This is Lagos Island Hospital. However, we were denied entry to see the survivors. Behind me is the accident and emergency unit of the Island General Hospital, where 2 of the 3 survivors are receiving treatment. I am right here at Obalende Road, the very spot where the tanker conveying petroleum products fell.
If there was no lockdown, it would have been terrible.
The petrol station has been sealed off. The rubbles have been cleared off, but we can still see some men of the appropriate agency ensuring that every debris is removed. But the effect of the inferno can be seen on the bridge. We also sighted men from the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing on ground to ascertain the level of damage caused by the inferno on this most important bridge in this axis. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
That's it from Lagos. We now take a break. Nationwide continues in Abuja with Ruth after that.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
Is to say a big thank you to all the healthcare workers who put their lives on the line, working in all the 36 states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, especially Lagos, Kano, Ogun, and Abuja, to ensure that we beat COVID-19 in the least possible time. Thank you so much. You are our superheroes. This message is from the Governor's Wives Forum, the wife of the Vice President and the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Now believe this corrupting. You know, if you touch black man, if you like, gather the whole Niger, come together, make a cough.
Nothing. Which one you want?
Give me V&D.
I beg, get small pieces.
How much you want to give him?
Give me 200. Take your change now. You know what your change is?
My people, this coronavirus, na serious matter. May una wash una hands regularly. Come use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. If you no see water, wash your hand. Make una sit down for house. You see this virus, so it no get leg. Now we dey waka kurukere. No waka around, make the virus for die. No forget, say, the betterment of our people. Now for your handy day.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
I just don't understand this coronavirus thing. Is it real?
See, coronavirus, known as COVID-19, it's a global problem and has killed thousands of people in China, Italy, Spain, UK, US, and other countries around the world.
Okay. Now, why are they saying that we should stay home?
Because if you go outside and get in contact with someone who is infected, you become infected and then come back home, affect your family. That's how it happens in other countries.
Now, please, help me explain what this social distance is all about.
See, as we are now, the virus travels through the air and by touch. We must maintain 6-foot distance at all times.
Oh, so it's not by washing my hands with soap and water or hand sanitizer that is only important?
Washing of our hands regularly is very important. But we must come together and fight this virus like we did Ebola. It is our responsibility to each other.
Thank you for staying with us. The Abia state government says one of the 2 index cases of COVID-19 patients that first tested positive have now tested negative and will soon be discharged from the isolation center in Umuahia. Governor Okezie Ikpeazu made the disclosure while addressing newsmen after a meeting he held with stakeholders on the update of COVID-19 in the state. Let's hear from Chinyere Okoli.
Ikpeazu noted that the patient, who is the oldest coronavirus patient in the Southeast Zone, has shown marked clinical improvement and met the NCDC national criteria for the discharge of COVID-19 patients from isolation centers. According to the governor, all those tested, including those with symptoms of COVID-19, have all proved negative.
This remarkable improvement is a positive highlight in the clinical management of this novel disease, and we are grateful to the team of healthcare workers directly or indirectly responsible for this victory.
On the lockdown exercise in the state, Governor Ikpeazu gave guidelines towards easing the lockdown, stating that commercial tricycles will carry only 2 passengers and mini buses not more than 5 passengers, all wearing face masks. He noted that schools were to still remain closed, while radio classroom initiative to be sustained. He maintained that leaders of churches are not to allow large congregations during each stream of service, as buckets of water and hand sanitizers to be provided at the entrance of the church. In Umuahia, Chinyere Okoli, NTA News.
And in the bid to revive the economy of the state after COVID-19, Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel has inaugurated a 20-man post-COVID-19 Economic Reconstruction Committee. One of the responsibilities of the committee is to guide the government in formation of a policy framework necessary to create a viable economy after COVID-19. Susan Asupo will tell us more.
The current economic challenges occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic is such that the world has not experienced in decades. It is on this background that Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel inaugurated a 20-man post-COVID-19 Economic Reconstruction Committee.
They will establish the interconnectedness and output from one providing input materials to another in the value chains of each of the projects. They will develop a priority list of economic reconstruction projects, then establish a sequence of prerequisite-based order of implementation, segmented in series and in parallel, indicate the the duration of each segment.
Responding through Skype on behalf of other members, Chairman of the committee, Professor Akwa Ibom, while acknowledging the global economic impact of COVID-19, commended Governor Odom Emmanuel for taking proactive steps by laying a solid foundation of economic transformation for Akwa Ibom citizens now and in the future. The committee is expected to submit an actionable program and projects to the governor within a period of 1 month. From the Banquet Hall, Government House, Uyo, Susan Asukwo, NTA News.
And in Nasarawa State, with confirmed cases of COVID-19, Chairman of the State Council of Chiefs and the Emir of Lafia, Justice Sidi Bagi Mohammed I, says members are utilizing available channels of communication for awareness to impede community transmission of the virus among the people who, he adds, must take responsibility by supporting government initiatives. Aliyu Tijani Mohammed reports from Lafia.
Since the index case was reported, figures by the NCDC of Nasarawa State is increasing by the day. The Emir of Lafia says the number is not small as all efforts should be directed towards reducing spread of the virus. He says people experiencing symptoms of the virus must avoid self-medication and report immediately to authorities for proper care.
Our country is not spared, our states are not, and our respective local council. We are calling on our people to know that this disease is real and that it is only wise for us at this critical time to be wise, to follow the advice given by the health professionals on how we can maintain personal hygiene, how we can carry out all instructions given by respective governments.
On the restriction of movement and ban on social and religious gatherings, the monarch says council members will continue to engage their subjects on total compliance. The Emir attacks individuals and corporate organizations to complement federal and state government efforts in providing palliatives to less privileged in society. In Lafia, Aliyu Tijani Mohammed, NTA News.
The mandatory use of non-medical face masks or covering in all public places is part of the guidelines and one of the enforceable actions included in the easing of the lockdown scheduled to commence on Monday. Joshua Ojito speaks with some residents in Abuja on how prepared they are to comply with this directive.
Monday, the 4th of May, the use of face masks is compulsory in Abuja and most parts of Nigeria as part of measures to flatten the curve of COVID-19. Now, how well do Nigerians know about the use of face masks and other measures put in place by government to contain the spread of coronavirus in Nigeria?
It is expected that we should be able to adapt the preventive measures that have been handed over to us by government, which includes social distancing, continue proper hygiene, and avoid crowded areas, and of course, wear face masks. Now, from the president's speech, you know that wearing a mask is now mandatory from Monday. So Nigerians should observe that if we have to curtail and emasculate COVID-19.
Even when I'm going out, I observe, I don't go to where crowd is and all the rest.
You use the face mask before you enter market, before you enter bank, before you enter petroleum, whatever, the 24 hours, you can use it. It's very good. I help myself.
The face mask is actually great. It actually protects us from, getting the virus or inheriting the virus. But it must be used properly. If you're not using it properly, you're causing more harm than, good. Let me also add that another thing which we've not been emphasizing on, hygiene. General hygiene is very important in boosting our immune system.
Meanwhile, residents of Abuja enjoyed 8 hours window to enable them restock food items, bringing about gridlock in parts of the capital city. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Thanks, Joshua, for that update, and joining me live now via Zoom for some enlightenment on what the ideal locally made face mask should look like is a consultant endocrinologist at the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital, Professor Felicia Anuma. Thank you very much for joining us, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Now, as a medical expert, the surgical face mask is one I'm sure you're used to wearing, and you can tell the difference from a good one to and a bad one. But what have you observed so far from the non-surgical face masks that has been made locally that Nigerians are encouraged to wear as we battle COVID-19?
Thank you. What I have observed about the use of face masks among Nigerians specific is the fact that it's like air of what that a proper face mask is and what is meant to achieve. Now, a proper face mask, if you look at the surgical mask, it has pleats on them. This is an example of a surgical mask. It has pleats. There's a reason why it has pleats. The pleats are to enable you have enough space when you wear the mask. It will get to the nasal bridge, almost close to the eyes, and then is expected to roll over almost close to the neck. Particularly the ones that are sewn, you see a very short length. I mean, the width is so short. And when people wear it, it's barely at the nostrils. And then it doesn't even cover the chin, just below the mouth. That kind of face mask does not suffice at all. It doesn't do the job. So people need to know that when they are buying face mask, when they are getting face mask, it has to have those pleats, meaning that you have enough space for it to go over your nose, almost close to your eyes, and to also go over the chin, almost close to the neck.
Okay, Professor, it has also become a fashion statement today, but I'm talking about the locally made masks. You see people doing all sorts of types of face masks. What is the difference? I mean, what kind of difference will this locally made masks, do as we battle COVID-19 in terms of its efficacy in preventing the virus from spreading to the next person?
Well, the best mask anyway is the N95. That's the one that will protect us almost 95%, from getting any droplet from another individual. But of course, we know that it is expensive, it's not readily available. So the very next one is the surgical mask. The N95 masks are used mainly by those healthcare professionals who are looking after the COVID patients themselves. But the surgical mask suffices in protecting every other individual, including, people in the hospital setting. The next one is this one that, that are being sold all over the whole place. But it is important that it is cotton. Because if it is nylon, the pores in the nylon is more, so it will not protect you. But at least cotton is, more closely knitted, it will protect. But we have to get the right size, and it has to be properly sewn. It has to have the space that is required for it to go over the nasal bridge and also to go beyond the chin, almost close to the neck. Now, the other problem is the idea that, Nigerians have concerning this mask. I mean, I went out today and I saw many people having this mask just being hung on their necks, just hanging on their necks. Some of them, they cover the mouth, but they don't cover the nose. So at the end of the day, even if you have a proper mask and you don't use it properly, it doesn't protect you or protect your neighbor.
Okay, Prof, let's look at the fabric now. Can any kind of fabric be used to make this face mask? Because not everybody can afford this surgical face mask, and it's even scarce in some places. So the locally made ones are the ones people would just necessarily go for. Can any kind of fabrics be used? Because we see some even lining. Now you're talking about the surgical ones that have the plinton, but these ones they're making locally, not all of them are made in that way. What's your take on that?
If anybody is making mask locally, it must have those pleatings, because those pleatings give the room to have space to roll it over your nose to the nasal bridge and to roll it under your chin almost close to your neck. It is very important. And the materials that can be used should be cotton, because nylon, the pores in the nylon material is much more than the pores in cotton. Is more knitted together than nylon. So nylon will not suffice. Whatever material they want to use, it has to be cotton.
Okay, so why is it so absolutely necessary at this time? What would you advise Nigerians as we embark on this compulsory use of face masks coming Monday to prioritize safety first?
It's so important for Nigerians to know that, yes, the lockdown has been lifted, but the truth is this: we are quite scared, we the healthcare professionals. Why are we scared? Because this is when we are beginning to see community spread. We can see how the numbers have been rising rapidly within the last 1 week or 2 weeks because of community spread. Now that we have community spread, that is when the lockdown is lifted. So Nigerians have to be careful. They have to be responsible for their own safety now. If you have to go out, use a properly made face mask and also fixing properly anywhere you go. And then another important thing is that people should not fiddle with the face too much, because people put the face mask and then they are using their hands to adjust it, fix it up, fix it down, fiddling with their face. So it is important that they know that once you put it on, you don't need to touch your face again until when you are taking it off.
Thank you very much, Professor Felicia Anuma. We'll continue to pray that we keep staying safe. She is a consultant endocrinologist. Let's look at more issues arising from COVID-19. Tungamaje community in Gwagwalada Area Council has received various forms of palliatives from an entrepreneur in the bid to give back to his host community of more than 20 years. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that the beneficiaries are predominantly the less privileged in the community.
Is a blind man and manages a household of 4. He and other community members of Tungamaje went home happy with foodstuffs and face masks.
As of me, see me now, not go anywhere. Not because of the situation, I will not come out.
The hand that you bring this one, she will never dry, she will prosper.
When I go house now, I go cook, give my people with myself chop.
The palliatives are distributed among 500 vulnerable persons and aimed at encouraging them to stay home to avoid contracting the virus.
Whatever you can, if it's 10 people you can feed, if it's 5 people, if it's 1,000, if it's 2,000, if it's 1 million, just anywhere you can do it.
Community leader of Tungamaje, Alhaji Saliu Abdullahi, appreciates the intervention by Winko Form to his community and promised to raise awareness on the virus in preventing the spread.
As more corporate organizations and public-spirited individuals continue to reach out to vulnerable Nigerians to cushion the hardship of COVID-19, emphasis remains on strict adherence to precautionary measures as coronavirus continue to ravage more communities of the world. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
And we hear that interstate travels is posing serious threat to community transmission of COVID-19 in Taraba State. Joseph Otson reports that the state government is struggling to stop many from coming into the state due to several entry points.
Taraba State has boundaries with Benue, Bauchi, Adamawa, Gombe and Plateau states, as well as Republic of Cameroon. The numerous entry points into the state from its neighbors have continued to frustrate the ban on interstate and national travels imposed by the state and federal governments. Lawal Umar is one among others who was able to beat all checks right from Lagos to reach Taraba State.
I'm from Lagos last 1 month. You understand?
And we're very close to you like this.
Of course. I'm from Lagos.
When you are talking of movement, even if you don't contact this disease from your primary point where you are living, the process of movement, you are likely to get contact with an infected person.
Realizing the challenge, the state government has taken stiffer measures by establishing mobile courts at major entry points. Many have been prosecuted, several vehicles impounded, and others turned back to where they were coming from.
So
far, we have recorded a number of convictions. Some of them were subjected to payment of fine. Some of them were subjected to community services, and they have all complied.
So far, All confirmed cases of coronavirus in the state are among intercepted travelers. In Jalingo, Joseph Sound Oten, NTA News.
And from Jalingo, let's find out what the situation is like in Ibadan as we join Adebola to bring us more on Nationwide. Adebola.
Much, Ruth. Good to see you. Welcome to Ibadan. As the second phase of the 2-week lockdown imposed by Osun State government ends, the state government has extended the total lockdown till Sunday, 3rd of May 2020. Governor Boyega Oyetola, who announced this in a state broadcast, has also relaxed the lockdown to a dusk to dawn curfew with effect from Monday next week. Femi Afari-Ogun has more.
In the past 4 weeks, Osun State has been on total lockdown due to the prevailing circumstances, especially to avoid community transmission of coronavirus in the state. So far, the state has recorded 34 cases, 18 of them treated and discharged, while the rest are undergoing treatment at the isolation center. However, the state government decided to review the 4-week lockdown, which terminated at midnight of Thursday, the 30th of April.
There shall be partial lockdown between 6 a.m. and 5 p.m. from Monday to Thursday. Total lockdown shall be enforced from 6 p.m. on Thursday to Sunday. There shall also be a dusk to dawn curfew from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. from Monday to Thursday until further notice.
During the lockdown, all advisories and protocols will be maintained, including the ban on religious and social gatherings, in addition to the compulsory wearing of face mask. All interstate boundaries remain closed. In Osogbo, Femi Afari-Ogun, NTA News.
The Nigerian Medical Association NMA Ogun State chapter has benefited from the kind gesture of donors towards cushioning the effect of COVID-19 lockdown in the country. This was courtesy of former Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amusun. Lekon Agbonde reports.
Call them frontline soldiers against COVID-19. You won't be wrong. They are facing unprecedented workload in overstretched health facilities. They are fighting an enemy which is invisible, deadly, and a task harder to accomplish. Today, the story has changed. The immediate past governor of Ogun State, Senator Ibikunle Amusun, has recognized and rewarded the health workers by extending his stimulus packages to them and other first responders at the front line of the battle against COVID-19. The sum of 1 million naira was also presented to the chairman of NMA for members to cushion the effect of COVID-19.
On behalf of all doctors in the Ogun State, most especially those people that are the frontliners, they're taking care of COVID-19 patients, we thank the senator for a job well done.
Stakeholders urge other well-meaning Nigerians to emulate Senator Amusun in Abeokuta. Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. It's back to you, Ruth, in Abuja. Good afternoon.
Many thanks, Adebola. As Borno State lockdown and border closure bites harder due to COVID-19, State Palliative Committee to ease the suffering of the indigent, IDPs and persons living with disability has sustained distribution of food items across the state. Out of the 60,000 households targeted within Maiduguri, the state capital, significant numbers have received the palliative support in 2 most populated metropolitan local government areas. Yagu Musu Bukar has more.
As Governor Babagana Umar Zulum flagged off distribution of the palliative in one of the internally displaced persons camps, the committee has sustained the exercise to the targeted 60,000 households within Maiduguri, the state capital. Most densely populated areas of Maiduguri Metropolitan Council and general local government, in addition to IDP camps, were on top of the list requiring urgent palliative support. Already, Gonge 1 and 2, Custom and Muna IDP camps, in addition to several wards, have received their consignment, while 50% were given to the most vulnerable members of the community.
Excellency is thinking of the where the COVID started, like Fulka and Bu area. So from there, we proceed to the other local governments.
Beneficiaries were grateful to Borno State government for the support to cushion the hardship resulting from the COVID-19 lockdown. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
And in the FCD, Gwarimpa community, a suburb of Abuja, came alive following the distribution of food items and other essentials as palliatives to some Nigerians to reduce the effect of the hardship posed on by the lockdown directive. The Transforming Church is promising to do more by providing free face masks should the federal government relapse its lockdown directive. Let's hear from Ikechukwu Ndukwe.
5-year-old Dada from with her granddaughter, Courage, have been looking out for a rainy day as this. Same with a middle-aged blind man, Mr. Saze William. A bag containing rice, face masks, beans, eggs, and other essentials is one of those practical shows of love from the church they cannot forget as the world is battling with the dreaded COVID-19 pandemic.
This is one that we are witnessing today with many in Gwarempa community coming out to receive palliatives from the Transforming Church.
Had it been we have this type of people of God, like this church, our suffering will be less.
I truly appreciate God for the love which they show to us.
Though Mr. Dada, a retired driver, is yet to understand the reason for the lockdown or what to do at this moment.
Pray, pray, pray. No time for you to wait.
For the Transforming Church, religion or tribe does not matter at this moment, but the drive to save lives.
Hunger has no religion. If you are hungry, you are Muslim, you're Christian, we're not even asking you to come and become a member of our church. We don't want to know your details.
The church is promising to educate and provide more.
And Sokoto State is our next stop on Nationwide as we join Abubakar. Team now to be ready. Let's look at more stories on Nationwide. A comprehensive campaign network is gradually taking center stage to nip in the bud the scary death of older persons from coronavirus complications. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that the Coalition of Societies for the Rights of Older Persons is at the forefront of this campaign.
The use of face masks to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in communities, especially with older persons, is informed by the danger the virus poses on the health of the elderly.
Older persons are said to be more vulnerable to the infectious COVID-19, a development that raised concerns from the Coalition of Societies for the Rights of Older Persons in Nigeria. And the coalition is leading a campaign for the constant use of face masks and to observe other preventive measures to stay alive. Former military administrator of Kogi State, Colonel Paul Omerua, joins his colleagues in taking the campaign to media front.
Creating awareness, talking about reaching out to those who are far from where they can get all the necessary information.
There must be compliance. Compliance with this spacing, compliance with washing your hands.
The coalition is collaborating with National Orientation Agency to spread the right information to target population in the country.
We want to say that any form of mask is better than no mask.
The situation around us now calls for consistent public awareness, advocacy, and community engagement.
The message here is for the society to develop strategic partnership with older persons in ensuring that they do not expose to chances of contracting the dreaded disease. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
To solve the problem of touching high contact points like the tap, the Institute of Technology, Kwara State Polytechnic, Ilorin, has fabricated a pedal-operated dispenser for hand washing. Let's hear from Abdul Wahid, who has all the details.
Established by the World Health Organization that people are at high risk of contacting coronavirus from person to person and placing of palms on plain surfaces and the need to be creative. Then the students of Kwara Polytechnic came up with the fabrication of this touch-free pedal machine. The pedal-operated dispenser, according to the rector, Kwara State Polytechnic Ilorin, Dr. Abdul Jimo, is essentially designed to prevent the spread of coronavirus in Nigeria through proper washing of hands without touching any part of the equipment.
I am 100% sure that this machine, like I told you, the reliability is very high. So it will stand the test of time, and it is almost maintenance free.
Cost of producing one by average is 40,000 naira with present maximum capacity of 50 per day. Apart from promoting physical hygiene, it will also create employment opportunity for the teeming masses, particularly with the mass production of this machine. From the Institute of Technology, Kwara State Polytechnic, Ilorin, Abdulwahid Bibiwe, NTA News.
Thank you, Abdulwahid. Quite an impressive innovation there. Restriction of interstate movement has been enforced in Bauchi State as part of measures to curtail the spread of COVID-19. Adamu Haruna Adams reports that although no total lockdown is declared in the state, all its borders with other states have been shut down.
All routes to the state on the 4 cardinal points have been barricaded by members of the State Task Force on COVID-19. The measure is meant to curtail spread of COVID-19 by carriers of the virus who may come in from some high-risk states.
The borders are closed and the borders should be closed because we don't know the person who is infected and we don't know the person who is not infected. But for essential items, food, medicine, and maybe trailers carrying fuel.
It's a border town between Plateau and Bauchi states. The border seems busy following relaxation of the total shutdown on the people of Plateau. Some are trying to cross to the nearby town to get some foodstuff.
Some officials speak on effort being made to check movements of people.
There are some people that misunderstood the statement of the governor. They say total shutdown should be relaxed. And some people from there, they thought the total shutdown has ended completely without even checking at the border. But it's not like that. The border remains closed.
We are managing the place to prevent people from coming into the local government or the state, with a view to protect our people.
However, the stakeholders say movement of food items and other essentials is not restricted. In Bauchi, Adam Haruna Adams, NTA News.
Let's rejoin Abubakar in Sokoto. I hear he's ready. Abubakar.
Well, hello, welcome to Sokoto. Nigeria Customs Service Kebbi State Command has handed over some bags of rice to the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development for distribution to vulnerable citizens in Kebbi. Hassana Abubakar Koko reports.
Presenting the items, the Area Controller of Customs Kebbi Area Command, Yusuf N. Garba, said that the presentation is in compliance to the directives of President Muhammadu Buhari.
This is in line with the Prudential Directive to the Nigerian Customs Service to release the material to the ministry for onward delivery or distribution to the vulnerable Nigerians during this lockdown, which is necessitated by the COVID-19.
Receiving the items, the representatives of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Alhaji Musa Mohammed Kangiwa, presented a total of 1,800 bags of rice to the Kebbi State government.
I duly collect on behalf of the Ministry and the Honorable Minister for Humanitarian Affairs all above stated items.
The State Director, Code of Conduct, Beru Usman Abubakar Tadurga, assured that they will monitor the distribution of the food palliatives to ensure accountability and transparency. And Bridin Kebbi, Hassana Abubakar Koko, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Zamfara State government has procured more than 49,000 bags of food items for distribution to people in the state as palliative. Governor Bello Mohammed, who flagged off the distribution exercise in Gusau, said Ramadan feeding centers has have also been established in each of the 2,516 areas of the state. Sadia Abubakar Hasbo.
It has been an annual tradition for Zamfara state government to provide Ramadan welfare package to different categories of people to enable them observe fasting with ease. Governor Bello Mohammed, who flagged off this year's package, says it is unique considering the prevailing challenge of COVID-19, which has further exposed people to untold hardship resulting from the various measures put in place to prevent and control the spread of the pandemic. This, according to him, prompted the state government to extend its feeding program to all the 2,516 polling units across the state. Governor Bello Mohammed said similar gesture will be extended to civil servants in the state.
I have already directed the office of the head of service the labor union on the modalities of the distribution of the package to our civil servants across the state.
Governor Bello Mohammed later kick-started the exercise with the symbolic distribution of food items, clothes and cash to some of the 40,000 orphans billed to benefit from the program. In Gusau, Sadia Abubakar, NTA News.
Well, that concludes it from here.
Thank you, Abubakar. A short break. We're back in a bit. Stay tuned.
Important message for you guys. Stay at home. No. Stay safe. Noruma. This is the right thing to do at this time. And don't forget, remember to wash your hands. Sachasia kage samaya sama, sachasia isia kage of mofuma. Together, we'll beat this thing. Are you ready now? Are you ready, man?
Thanks for staying with us, but that's it on Nationwide. We do appreciate your company. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm Ruth Aguele. Bye.